turn to take on the SAFE Act now. That is the bill that would temporarily halt accepting refugees from Iraq and Syria until federal agencies can truly verify that there are no possible terrorists among them. Well, the House passed it in November overwhelmingly, just 2 days after it was introduced. North Carolina Congressman Richard Hudson was there, and he's here today. In fact, he wrote the SAFE Act, and he joins me for the real story on that. So in the House, back before the end of the year, it was a bipartisan vote, 287 to 137. You got 47 Democrats to vote for it. Will that happen in the Senate?
Well, I'm not sure we'll get a 2/3 vote, but my hope is we'll at least get through the cloture vote Wednesday, bring the bill to the Senate floor. If we can get 6 Democrats to vote with the Republicans, then we can have this very common sense measure that the American people want to see.
It's been interesting because as we've been talking about this and debating it, it's kind of hard to try and figure out why somebody might be against this. Why are they?
Well, there's been a lot of heated rhetoric on both sides. You've seen some from Republican presidential candidates. You've seen the White House playing the straw man role. But what the House of Representatives passed and what we're hoping the Senate will take up this week is a very common sense measure that simply says stop the flow of refugees unless and until we can put a process in place to vet these folks. And you have to understand, there's a couple of facts that are important to understand. Number one is this is the FBI director under President Obama who said we can't do a proper background check on most Syrians.
Right.
Second fact is the director of national intelligence said we know of numerous affiliates of ISIS who've already tried to come through the refugee process. And then number 3 is we arrested the 2 folks in Sacramento and Houston just a couple of weeks ago who were Iraqi refugees who came through the vetting process. So the vetting process is not perfect, particularly when you're talking about Syria.
All right, so is this bill designed to just temporarily put a stop to the refugees, or is there also rules and regulations within that bill as to how to certify whether they're actually safe to come here?
Well, Gretchen, when I wrote the bill, I was very careful not to tell the FBI how to do their job. And so what we've said is we want the FBI director to sign off that a proper background has been done on each individual. And so the FBI can determine what that criteria ought to be.
Well, they've already gone on record as saying they currently can't do that for those coming from Syria.
That's true. And so what I hope they can do is put a process in place. And look, if we're talking about a 7-year-old girl, I think there's a different threshold than a military-age male. If I were a naturalized Syrian American citizen now, if my mother is one of these refugees, it'd probably be pretty easy to put a background together on her, especially if she's traveled here before. But for a lot of military-age males that we can't put backgrounds together, they may not ever be able to come in.
Okay, and your main goal is that because this cloture vote is coming up on Wednesday, and today's technically a holiday, you're trying to get the word out to people to call their senators so that they're aware that this vote is coming.
Absolutely. If you're sitting at home and you want to see a common sense solution, if you want to do as my granddaddy said, if there's a hole in the bucket, stop, turn off the spigot, then fix the bucket. Let's turn off the spigot for until we can get the bucket fixed. If you're sitting at home and you agree with me, call your senators and ask them to vote to bring this to the floor.
All right. I like that granddaddy analogy. Nice one. Great to see you in person, Congressman.
Great. Thank you.